It was the year 1999. Ferrari was coming off a very successful season, having won the Constructors' Championship. However, a Drivers' Championship continued to elude them. The Mercedes-powered McLaren, driven by defending champion Mika Hakkinen, held off a late-season push by Eddie Irvine to retain the title. But that would be the last time Ferrari came in second place for the next 5 years. With two-time world champion Michael Schumacher at the helm, Ferrari would go on to win 5 straight Drivers' Championships, cementing Schumacher's legacy as one of the greatest of all time. However, this isn't Schumacher's story. It's been told many times before. Today, I want to spotlight the men on the pit wall, specifically the mastermind behind one of the most dominant runs in F1 history, who later led the sport's most improbable title win. I'm talking, of course, about Ross Brawn, Ferrari's former technical director. Brawn's entry into motorsport was far from glamorous. He began as a milling machine operator for March Engineering in the 1970s. When March decided to enter motorsport, Brawn transitioned into a role with their Formula 3 team as an engineer. His talents didn't go unnoticed, as Frank Williams, founder of the F1 team, recognized Brawn's potential and brought him on as a mechanic. Soon, Brawn moved into the R&D department, working alongside legendary designer Frank Durney. There he learned the intricacies of designing championship-winning cars and helped deliver a constructors and 2 drivers titles to Williams. In 1995, Brawn left Williams to join Beatrice Haas' Force team. Despite his growing experience, success didn't follow. The team only managed a best finish of 4th before folding after just 2 seasons. Brawn then joined Arrows, but the team slipped in performance during his tenure. By the end of 1986, Brawn had stepped away from Formula 1 entirely, joining Jaguar's sports car division, winning a championship in 1991. But Formula 1 wasn't done with Ross Brawn. In 1991, Brawn returned to F1 as the new technical director of Benetton, working alongside Tom Walkinshaw, and with a promising driver lineup including Nelson Piquet and a young Michael Schumacher, Benetton steadily improved, their efforts finally paying off when Schumacher won the Drivers' Championship in 1994, and just the very next year they would secure both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships in 1995. Beyond car design, Brawn was instrumental in talent acquisition, even bringing in former mentor Frank Durney. His strategic acumen during races also became another key asset for Benetton. However, after a falling out between Schumacher and Benetton management, Brawn followed the driver to a new home, Ferrari. At the time, the move raised eyebrows. Ferrari hadn't won a constructors or drivers title in 17 years, and it looked like a step backward. But with Schumacher driving and Brawn managing the technical side, Ferrari returned to championship-winning form in just 3 years, and for the next 5, they were unbeatable. In 2005, Ferrari began to falter. Young star Fernando Alonso and Renault, led by Brawn's former colleague Flavio Briatore, seized the opportunity, ending Ferrari's dominance. And in 2006, Ferrari narrowly missed out again by just 5. Seeing the writing on the wall, Brawn announced that he was taking an indefinite break from F1. However, that break didn't last very long, as Brawn joined the Honda F1 project, partnering with long-term sponsor Red Bull in a bid to attract Fernando Alonso. However, Honda abruptly withdrew from the project, pulling out of the deal. And with Red Bull also gone, Brawn led a group of investors to buy out Honda's assets, rebranding them to Brawn GP. Armed with a Mercedes engine, a strong chassis, and experienced drivers Rubens Barrichello and Jenson Button, Brawn GP entered the 2009 season with low expectations but very high potential. Against all odds, Button won 6 of the first 7 races. However, their financial struggles persisted. With crucial investments from Richard Branson and MIG Investments, the team just managed to stay afloat. Barrichello would go on to add 2 more wins, and Brawn GP would finish the season with both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. The miraculous run caught the attention of the Daimler Group, parent company of Mercedes, and rather than invest, Mercedes bought a controlling stake and rebranded the team to Mercedes F1. Brawn stayed on as team principal and bought in a returning Michael Schumacher along with rising star Nico Rosberg. The early years were challenging as Schumacher struggled with the car and Rosberg showed promise, but wins remained elusive. In 2012, Rosberg finally broke through with the win in China, but it was clear that Schumacher's days were behind him. At the end of the season, he would retire again. Now with an open seat, Brawn and Mercedes successfully lured away 2008 world champion Lewis Hamilton from McLaren for the 2013 season. The year started with reliability issues, but Rosberg won in Monaco and Silverstone, while Hamilton took the win in Hungary. Despite strong performances, Red Bull's dominance continued, and Mercedes finished second. After the season, Ross Brawn announced his departure from the team, and in 2014, he officially retired from Formula 1. Though he later participated in the investigation into Jules Bianchi's tragic accident, Brawn largely stayed away from the sport. Ross Brawn is one of the most accomplished technical figures in F1 history. With 9 constructors titles and race-winning cars built for 5 different teams, his legacy is unparalleled. From Benetton's rise to Schumacher's reign, Brawn GP's fairy tale run, Ross Brawn deserves recognition as a true F1 legend. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Ross Brawn's career, consider liking and subscribing for more F1 stories. You can check out our video on Red Bull Racing here on the right, or see what YouTube recommends. That'll be over there on the left. Catch you in the next one.